we quit recording the video a while ago. I'm just sitting here eating these. This is a bell pepper. It's phenomenal. So if you guys follow the channel, you've seen the last few days I've been visiting a friend named Waldo, and we've been doing some tractor and chainsaw videos together. And as I was getting ready to leave, he told me that his wife has a freeze-drying business. And I am familiar with the idea of freeze-dried meals, and I thought that was really interesting. But turns out you can do a lot more with it. And after they showed me what they've got going on, I decided to go ahead and make a video because I thought you guys might find it interesting too. Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and I'm here with Jana, who's going to tell me a little bit about freeze drying. Because I'm aware that freeze drying is a thing, but I really just don't know much about it. So I guess to start with, we've got a wide selection of freeze-dried products here. Let's kind of maybe show them some of what we have here. This one you were just telling me is hominy.
That's hominy, yes.
And they've got candy and fruit and stuff that sounds delicious and is, but some of the stuff I didn't think would be actually is. So I'll let you show them if you want a little bit of what we've got here.
So we've got things from freeze-dried pineapple, you've got asparagus in your hand, we've got peaches from Stratford that we went down and picked from the orchard ourselves. I've got the Sweet Tart Extreme Sour, which is like a spree. We've got strawberries, raspberries, lemons, oranges, mixed vegetables, spinach, sweet corn, carrots. I've got homegrown peppers from a local farm store, and I've got, I've got ice cream. So
you can do almost anything, it sounds like. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the different things and the practicality of it and how they use it and how a freeze dryer works. The first thing that I wanted to say is this is asparagus, and I do not like asparagus. But this freeze-dried asparagus, I could sit there and just snack on it. It's really good.
yeah.
So to start with, when you were buying a freeze dryer, what was it about it that made you want to have one?
So the reason that we got a freeze dryer, and I will admit it was not me who originally wanted the freeze dryer, it was my husband because he had been exposed to them and seen them in action. But the thing about the freeze dried food is we can package it in Mylar, we can put an oxygen absorber in there. The shelf life is up to 25 years, and it's a lot lighter weight, it's a lot easier to store. I can do not only my fruits, my veggies, candy, I can also do meats and meals, and it's not just one thing. It's not, I'm going to can tomatoes. It's, if I wanted to do, chicken Alfredo, I can freeze dry that, and I can have a hot meal if something happens, or if I go camping, if I'm hiking. I can take a full meal with me. It doesn't weigh anything, and I'm not going to break a Mylar bag like I would a glass jar or something like that.
So the first thought is it's kind of a replacement for how our grandparents were canning.
It's definitely an evolution from home canning, because of the, we have the Harvest Dry freeze dryers, and it's considered a residential freeze dryer. It's something that there's definitely more and more people getting into. A lot of folks don't know about them. A lot of folks haven't heard about them. But if you go look into freeze drying, you can control what is in your food, how you store your food, how long you store your food, and basically what food you want to store. It's not just what's commercially available to you.
Some of the most interesting stuff they've already told me. One, I understand, or I knew that there's freeze-dried meals that you can buy, but I just couldn't picture how it works. But apparently, I mean, you can do spaghetti,
yes,
and it comes out and it's super lightweight, and then you rehydrate it, and it's going to taste like spaghetti.
It's just like spaghetti, just like how it went in. It should have the same texture, or very close to.
And the difference between that and canning is if you can the food, a lot of times it loses the nutritional value where you're going to retain it more.
Yes.
With the freeze dry.
With traditional canning, you lose maybe 20 to 30% of your nutritional value because you're utilizing heat to process it. not only are you cooking the food, but then you're also using heat to actually seal and can your food. And with freeze drying, you have a very limited amount of heat. Mostly, you are our machine, our freeze dryers, they go 40 below zero. It then draws a vacuum, has some pads underneath the trays that warm up the trays. So the hottest temperature most of these foods have hit is 150. Most of the fruit and vegetables are processed around 125 degrees. And because of it getting so cold, you're literally getting it below the safe zone for bacteria to survive. So you're actually getting it really, really cold, and in some cases, you're still getting it above that 135-degree temperature that will actually kill the bacteria. So they're kind of getting it on both ends of the temperature spectrum, and then there's no moisture. And when you uh, store them in the Mylar bags with an oxygen absorber, it's in a nitrogen environment. There's no oxygen, there's no moisture, there's really nothing for bacteria to survive on.
I love the fact that you can, over time, like at your leisure, prepare a lot of food for an emergency situation and for camping and things like that. But they also have a lot of fun with it and make all different types of snacks. They're doing a side business where they're bagging up candies and fruit and stuff to sell. And so it's kind of it's kind of an expensive investment initially, but you can recoup some of that if you do what you guys are doing.
Yes, definitely.
And I've just been snacking on all of this stuff. This is oranges.
That's mandarin oranges.
Mandarin oranges.
So that's lemons.
This is a lemon. It's if you like sour candy, this is like a cross between a sour candy and a potato chip. Pretty intense. So is the most popular stuff when you go and you're going to bag this stuff up and sell it, is the candy what's really popular with people?
The candy is very popular with people, but I will say there's also a big following for their fruit because, yes, freeze dried fruit is available in stores. You can go get it at a lot of places. However, what we do differently is we are going to the orchard, we're purchasing the peaches there, we're buying seasonal fruit that has the most flavor and the most, just the most nutritional value, and that's what we're processing and that's what we're utilizing. There's no frozen fruit, anything. Everything that we do is fresh fruit, hand cut, and then freeze dried. My one preservative that I do use is I do use fresh lemon juice to keep the apple slices from browning, but that is the only preservative or preservative type ingredient that we use.
I think that's the best thing you can look at on anything you're going to eat is the ingredients list, and the shorter the better.
Yes.
And these are single ingredient foods except for the candies that you bought as candy.
So if you look at the ingredient list on this one, it is by weight. So there's your whole ingredient list. And I'm pretty sure you can pronounce all of those words.
Yeah, peaches, bananas, strawberries, pineapple, apples, and lemon juice. I don't know why this isn't the most common thing you see in a gas station. And I guess part of it might be, instead of a bag of chips, this will cost more, but fruit's expensive. So that just is kind of common sense that it would. I love that I can just snack on asparagus or carrots. So do you have any tips if someone's deciding I want to get a freeze dryer and start doing this? Do you have any, like, this is what you should know, or?
If you're going to get a freeze dryer, be ready to play with your food. I know we were always told growing up, don't play with your food. That's exactly what I do is I play with my food a lot. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to try new things. And don't be afraid of the technology. They're very simple to operate. It's a touch screen. Literally, if you can operate the phone in your hand, you can operate a freeze dryer. They have created them with a residential consumer in mind so that it's not rocket science. It's very easy. To me, this is easier than home canning because I am not having to move glass jars in and out of a hot water bath or in and out of a pressure canner. It's you know, it's just very simple, and then it's a matter of putting it in a bag with an oxygen absorber and sealing it up.
Is there a list of things that you can't freeze dry?
You cannot freeze dry fats and oils. So Reese's peanut butter cups, the chocolate has oils in them. Peanut butter has oil in it. If so, I mean,
But butter works.
but butter, it will work because there's a lot of moisture in it, but not necessarily oil. So when I have people who want to have food and they want to have foods freeze dried, I will tell them, go ahead and cook your meals normal, but any kind of oil that you would normally use, if you use a vegetable oil or an olive oil, substitute butter.
This is Skittles.
Yes.
And to me, it feels like the flavors are more intense on all these candy items.
And you can actually hear yourself eating a Skittle now. So that's why we take samples when we go to our trade shows and different places where we do go sell candy. Because it's hard to explain. It's a Skittle, but crunchy. Unless you've had one, it's hard to explain.
And like I had an M&M and like a Snickers bar, and you can just like let them melt in your mouth. You don't have to chew them up, any of the candy. Those are gummy worms.
So these are gummy worms. So that is your sour gummy worm, just your regular gummy. But if you have orthodontia, if you have dental work, guess what? It's not going to stick. You can still eat it, but it's going to have a crunch like a Cheetos Puff. So it's, to me, they're way more fun to eat than a regular gummy.
They're delicious, and the flavors are really intense. So a couple more things over here that were interesting. Like this, was that an M&M or something back there? Or what are these right here?
That's the Snickers.
Snickers. This is you cut it in little pieces, or?
Cut it in little pieces, and that's a partial bag. So that's just
Fantastic. I thought maybe freeze drying would take all the calories out, but that's not how it works.
No, this is the caramel M&Ms.
M&Ms, so much better. That's a caramel M&M, a lot better than a regular M&M.
Well, and the cool thing about the caramel M&Ms, chocolate doesn't freeze dry. So the textured chocolate's going to be exactly the same. The outer candy crust is the same, but it's going to be that chewy caramel. It's no longer chewy. That's what's going to give you the nice fluffy cotton candy texture.
And for scientific purposes, I better make sure these are okay.
So nice of you to try that. And then I have fun stuff like, doesn't everyone have a jar of ice cream on their counter?
That's ice cream?
This is, yes. So we have a local ice cream chain, and they make different flavors. That is their churro flavor of Braum's ice cream.
For science.
It's one of my favorite flavors, so it's really hard not to just, some of the seasonal flavors, try to preserve those, not in the freezer, but where I can actually just have them.
All right, you want to show them what the machines look like?
Sure. So this is a large Harvest Right freeze dryer, and if we open it up, you can see it does have 5 shelves. It does have the vacuum chamber that will get really cold. This is what will get down to 40 below zero. And underneath each one of these shelves, there is a small pad that will heat the trays, and that will cause a sublimation, which causes any ice that has frozen in the food to then vaporize directly into water vapor, so that you have sublimation taking place. The water vapor will then freeze on the outside of the chamber, which keeps it from returning to your food. So that's actually what dries out your food as far as freeze drying it. And honestly, freeze drying has been around for a very, very long time. And some of the earliest examples were actually, I believe, in South America, like Peru. People would actually go up to high altitude and freeze their food and let it dry out at the high altitude. So this is literally just reproducing that climate.
And just a ballpark on average, what is someone going to spend on a machine for their home, just to freeze dry some food for themselves?
So this is a large machine, and I'm just going to ballpark and say this would probably spend around $4,000 on it. I don't know if it was actually that much. There are smaller machines, and you can get, there's a medium, there's even a smaller machine, so depending on how much you think you want to process as far as food and how big your family is. Because if you're an individual, you don't want a huge machine unless you are going to do this for a hobby or you know, sales or whatever. If you just want to be able to put away you know, food for yourself, then there's smaller options where it's much more affordable.
Yep.
And a lot of these are available at some of your farm stores. They're getting more and more available all over the place.
And they actually make stuff to sell, and they package it up. And if you want to check out what they've got going on, your Facebook is called
Jana's Freeze Dry.
Jana's Freeze Dried. I will put a link in the video description so you can go check that out. You think there's anything that I haven't thought of that people might want to know about freeze drying?
Well, there's a lot of uses as far as you can make your own seasoning blends. If you wanted to, if you have an herb garden, you can crush your own peppers, you can grind your own herbs. Like we were talking about the freeze-dried onion and pepper blend. Possibly you could make your own onion powder, garlic powder, different things like that.
And you guys have powdered tomato.
We do have powdered tomatoes. I don't buy tomato paste for tomato sauce anymore because I have tomatoes that I grew myself in the garden and freeze-dried them, ran them through a food processor, and they are powdered. If I need a tomato paste, I just hydrate my own.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to show it to us, and I appreciate you for watching. So I'll put links on the screen to more of our videos, and we'll see you next time.